Hello, everyone. Welcome in to the Football Addicts Anonymous podcast. Merry Christmas. Great to have some friends here today to talk ball. Logan, as always. Danny
What's up,
Potter
dude?
rejoining the show. How are your Christmases, sirs?
Good. Can't complain. It was a good time. Lots of food.
Yeah, I feel that. I love ham, man. That's why Christmas is my favorite holiday meal.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got a bowl game going on right now. New Mexico State 24-7 over Bowling Green. About 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Quick Lane Bowl at Ford Field in Detroit. Got a couple bowl games or one other bowl game to talk about that happened on Christmas Eve. The NFL Week 16 slate. Talk about that. That finishes up tonight. Chargers Colts in Indy. And then we'll look at the Week 17 preview, Cowboys, Titans to open it up, as well as all the injuries. There were a bunch that I got today. But, yeah, crazy. We are heading toward Week 17 already in this 2022 NFL season. But on Christmas Eve, we had the Easy Post Hawaii Bowl. It was nice and warm, 80 degrees there at kickoff in Honolulu. I hated everyone that was there. But yeah, Mid-Tennessee, Logan Lone Wolf and the Blue Raiders getting it done there, 25-23 over San Diego State. Mid-Tennessee took the lead with about, I think it was 3 minutes to go in the game. They kicked the field goal to go up by 2. But yeah, I was kind of surprised. Jalen Maiden, 300-yard game for him. Terrible completion percentage. 19 of 43, 44.2%, 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks, 4 turnovers for him. Really killed the vibe for the Aztecs. 12 carries, 26 yards, a fumble. Chase Cunningham on the opposite side was pretty decent, 26 to 43, 60.5%, 236, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. I got to watch this game a little bit. I was focusing more on the Cowboys, the Eagles game and the Steelers game, as I got my Steelers hat on. But yeah, I was kind of paying attention to this game a little bit anyways. I don't know if y'all watched it.
No.
Did not get a
NFL,
chance to turn on the Easy Post Hawaii Bowl.
Yeah, Frank Peasant for Mid-Tennessee led the game in rushing, 17 carries, 27 yards. Not much going on the ground for either team the whole game. 2 catches for 10 yards for Peasant there. 100-yard receiver or one almost 100-yard receiver. Mid-Tennessee's wide receiver Jalen Lane there. 10 catches, 111 yards, and a touchdown. And then actually we had 200-yard receivers. My bad. I forgot. San Diego State's running back Keenan Kristen. He had 1 carry for 0 yards, but he caught 2 balls for 111 yards and a touchdown.
Wow.
And then I love Jesse Matthews for SDSU, the wide receiver there. 7 receptions, 99 yards, 1 carry for 1 yard. He wears number 45 as wide receiver. But he is a beast. I don't know the measurables on him for draft purposes, but I really like Jesse Matthews as an underrated guy. Defensively, a lot going on. First off, gonna say my defensive player of the game is gonna go to San Diego State's defensive lineman Keyshawn Banks. 7 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 4 tackles for a loss. But there's 2 other guys I want to talk about. Mid-Tennessee's defensive end, Jordan Ferguson. 5 tackles, 3 solos, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, and a pick. And on offense, he caught an 8-yard touchdown reception. And then San Diego State defensive lineman Garrett Fountain, 2 tackles, 1 solo, a half tackle for loss. He led San Diego State in rushing, 1 carry for 27 yards on offense. It wasn't actually on offense. It was a fake punt that he ran 27 yards on. So props to Fountain there. But yeah, this was an interesting game. Close one. Good game. Unfortunately, Logan got the win. But
Missed of margins.
Mid Tennessee +7. They went outright over 47 by 1. Yeah, I really didn't have much on these teams to pick, so I kind of just went with San Diego State because they were a 7-point favorite. Okay, NFL Saturday, Christmas Eve. Panthers staying alive, 37-23 romp over the Lions. And I said this on the show on Saturday morning. I was like, I'm picking the Lions because when I pick against the Panthers, they seem to win. So I'm just going to keep doing that. Probably anyways. I don't know. We'll see what happens next week. But yeah, most rushing yards ever by the Panthers in their franchise history, most total yards in franchise history as well. Over 300 rushing yards, I believe, 500 plus total yards. But yeah, Jared Goff, 25 of 42, 59.5%, 355, 3 touchdowns, 3 carries, 15 yards, and a fumble. Sam Darnold has been getting it done. He's doing enough. He's supplementing the run game when he has to, making the throws that he has to, and it's looking good. 15 of 22, 68.2%, 250 yards, 1 touchdown, 6 carries, 19 yards, and 1 rushing score as well. I think the biggest thing, no turnovers, is why Sam Darnold and the Panthers have been winning.
Yeah, it's been, and I think the only thing that I have to say about it is, I mean, just what a job Steve Wilkes has done taking the reins. I mean, this is a team that was written off completely in the hunt for the number 1 overall pick, and now, like you said, I mean, they're still technically alive in the NFC South, which is absurd. But yeah, good on Wilkes.
Isn't it? If they win outright, they win the South. Is that?
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah,
is.
that was right.
Who would have thought? Yeah, I agree with Logan. I mean, yeah, a few weeks ago they were done for. Everyone was picking the Bucks. Now look at the Bucks barely beating the Cardinals. I mean, we'll talk about that in a little bit here, but
Yeah,
the Panthers, they're looking decent. I mean, Sam Darnold not having Baker Mayfield, right behind him, I think that's giving him a lot more comfortability in terms of getting the job done.
Yeah, and it's pretty much winner take all coming up on New Year's Day. Panthers Panthers in Tampa. Bucks win, they win the division. Panthers win, they need a win against the Saints week 18 to win the division. Saints need a lot of help to win the division. Starts with a Panthers win, because then the Panthers Saints game would be for the division if the Saints would win this weekend as well. But the Deontay Foreman, Chuba Hubbard, Raheem Blackshear, 3-headed monster getting it done. Foreman, 21 carries, 165, 1 touchdown. Hubbard, 12 carries, 125. They were just gashing them. I don't know how many plays they had, 30-plus yard plays, but they had more 30-plus yard plays in this game, I believe, than they had all season combined. So really just crushing them on the ground. Start of the 4th here in the Quick Lane Bowl, Bowling Green getting a field goal to push it to a 14-point deficit there. So might have some life for the Falcons late in this one. We'll have to wait and see. But Detroit couldn't run the ball at all. Swift, their leading ball carrier, with just 12 yards. Actually, Goff, really their leading rusher with 15 there. I was surprised Jamal Williams really didn't factor in at all. DJ Chark, though, 4 catches, 108 yards, 5 targets. He was the leading receiver in this one. And then his running mate, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 catches, 76 yards, 13 targets, so double-digit targets for him. And then how about just the weirdest, like, Christmas miracle thing of all? Tight end Shane Zylstra. Brandon Zylstra's brother, who is actually on the Lions as well, but he's on the practice squad. Shane's on the active roster. 5 catches, 26 yards, a hat trick, 3 touchdowns for Zylstra, 6 targets for him. It was just one of the weirdest performances I've ever seen.
Him and Golf were the only one who had their Wheaties that morning.
Yeah. And then Brian Burns is defensive player of the game. 2 tackles, both solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, and 3 QB hits. Panthers +2. They went outright over 43.5. And I think the Panthers are already underdogs against the Bucks. I think that's what I forget what the line was. I think it's 3 for Tampa next week right now. And oh Lord, I think the Bowling Green Falcons just got an onside kick. Maybe. Nope. New Mexico State recovered. Bills destroying the Bears 35-13. This is what we all thought was going to happen. Josh Allen really didn't have that great of a day. It was windy as hell in Chicago. They really couldn't throw the ball efficiently. 15 of 26, 57.7%, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 6 carries, 41 yards, and a rushing score. Bears played 2 quarterbacks. Justin Fields got dinged up, I think. That was why Peterman came in. But 15 of 23 for Fields, 65.2%, 119 yards, 1 touchdown, 7 carries, 11 yards, and then Nathan Peterman, 3 of 5, 60%, 25 yards, and a pick. Nathan Pickerman, as some people might call him. But yeah, the Bills continue to roll along. Massive Monday night game coming up, which we'll talk about at the end of the show. But yeah, it's getting down to it. Bills are still holding that 1 seed.
I think they can hold on.
Yeah, I agree. Again, like I said, the big showdown coming on Monday, but the Bears now are interesting because they, with the Texans win, are now just a half a game out of the number 1 overall pick. That would be so fascinating to see what Chicago would do.
Yeah, I don't think they would pick a quarterback.
Yeah.
I would pick Bryce Young.
I would maybe trade out.
I would trade Justin Fields for another first-round pick and get Bryce Young.
It'd be interesting. I mean, you could reset the timeline with that move. But I think if you're a Bears fan, the takeaway is that you could do any number of one of those things. You could trade down. You could stay at your pick and take either Jalen Carter or Will Anderson, probably. You could take a quarterback and then maybe get some draft capital from Fields. It's just really interesting. I think the draft is really going to start there, as opposed to kind of last year where it kind of started at that 3 pick and we kind of knew who the top 2. I think we're going to get started right away at the top.
I think they're going to be intriguing anyways, even if they do land at 2, because they will have the option of the second best quarterback that the Texans don't take. I would just advising you, Chicago, don't take another Ohio State quarterback. Just don't do it. It's not good business. But Devin Singletary, the running game went crazy in this one for the Bills. Devin Singletary, James Cook, Singletary there, 12 carries, 106 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 catches, 19 yards. James Cook, 11 carries, 99 yards, a touchdown, 1 catch for 9 yards as well. Leading receiver in this one was surprisingly Bears wide receiver, 3rd-round rookie Velus Jones Jr. 2 catches, 52 yards, 4 targets. Because Stephon Diggs really crapped the bed on me in fantasy, but luckily I won. I won, so We're to the chip. We're heading to the championship next week. Tough week for a lot of my guys matchups wise, but we're there. In the only one that I'm in the playoffs in. So yeah.
I
we'll
have
see.
what, like 5, 6? How many leagues are you in?
I'm in a lot of leagues, but I'm in three paid dynasties, and I think 3 paid dynasties and 3 paid redrafts. But the dynasty league that I run is the one I'm in the championship. So defense play of the game, easy. Bills defensive tackle Ed Oliver, 4 tackles, all of them solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections, and a QB hit. Bills -8 covered easily, over 40.5. Saints, how about the Saints coming back down 10-0, scored 17 unanswered to win the game. And once again, I mean, the Deshaun Watson offense looks absolutely terrible. It looked good when they were up 10-0, but when they didn't score any points after that, it looked really bad. But yeah, 15 of 31, 48.4% for Deshaun, 135 yards, 1 pick, 3 carries, 24 yards, a rushing score. Andy Dalton really wasn't much better. 8 of 15, 53.3%, 92 yards, and a pick. And I really don't know how the Saints won this game. I had it up on my quad box on my laptop for Sunday Ticket, but I couldn't tell you how they won this game because it was just like so boring.
Yeah, I don't know how the Saints are just still alive. They're another team where it's just like back from the dead, man. We were talking about how the Eagles were going to potentially win the Super Bowl and get a top 5 pick because they were just so bad. And now they are also still in the hunt for that just really bad NFC South.
It reminds me of the NFC West in 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy though. I saw this one guy post on Twitter today. He did a simulation or like put a scenario out there of how the teams get a lot of help and the Panthers and the Bucks make it at 7-9. Yeah, Panthers win the NFC South, Bucks get in as a 7 seed.
The NFC has just been so bad this year.
Well, but it's both the NFC and the AFC. The bubble teams have condensed so quickly the last like 2 or 3 weeks because the teams above keep losing and the teams below keep winning. So it's gonna be interesting for 17 and 18 coming up. Especially because we already know week 18 matchup is for a playoff spot. Jags Titans is going to be for the AFC South. But yeah, Nick Chubb led the game in rushing, no surprise, 24 carries, 92 yards, 1 catch for 10 yards. I was very appreciative of Mr. Kamara's Christmas Eve performance, not doing that well. Still pretty good performance fantasy wise, but not Christmas from last year, where he scored 5 touchdowns against the Vikings. But I was happy that he didn't do that well because I was playing against him. Amari Cooper for the Browns led the game in receiving, 6 catches, 72 yards on 10 targets. Taysom Hill scoring a touchdown. That should be above the Cooper there. But defensively, going to go with Saints defensive end Carl Granderson, 6 tackles, 5 solos, 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. Saints +3 win outright under 32. I think I lone wolfed the Saints. Chiefs 24-10 over the Seahawks. I didn't watch this game. I had it on and then I switched it to one of the other games. because this one was pretty boring. The Chiefs went up early and never relinquished. Patrick Mahomes, 16-28, 57.1%, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown. And then Geno, 25 of 40, 62.5%, 215 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 3 carries, 16 yards. And the Seahawks are just a complete dumpster fire right now. Yet they're still a half a game out.
Yeah. Well, Danny and I got an early Christmas present from a lot of these games on Christmas Eve. This was one of those where we got a lot of help as Packers fans. So I'm very appreciative of that.
Yep. It's good to see. I mean, I didn't have any doubt the Chiefs would pull off a victory here. So even after last week when they barely beat the Texans.
Yeah, especially in Kansas City. Tough place to play. The Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker III, he led the game in rushing, 26 carries, 107 yards, 2 catches for -2 yards. Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce led the game in receiving, 6 catches, 113 yards on 8 targets. And defensively, I'm going to go with Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones, 4 tackles, 2 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 4 QB hits. Wow, that is a massive turnover. Bowling Green driving. Looks like New Mexico State gets a fumble recovery inside the 10-yard line. Chiefs cover -10, under 50.5. What a game in Minneapolis. The Vikings are the luckiest team in the NFL, 27-24 over the Giants. 61-yard walk-off from Greg Joseph. They are now, 11-0 or 10-0? I don't remember which number it is.
I think it's 11-0.
Yeah, 11-0 in 1-score games.
That's nuts.
Which is the most in NFL history.
When is their luck going to run out? In the playoffs, probably.
Yeah, when they come to Philly again in the NFC Championship game. But me and Logan were Vikings fans this weekend.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, well, if the Packers could beat them next week, that would help me out. That would help me out a little bit.
This is like the most juice that Vikings week has had in a long time.
But Daniel Jones really played well. 30 of 42, 71.4%, 334 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 4 carries, 34 yards. Kirk Cousins, a yard shy of 300, but he was electric. 34 of 48, 70.8%, 299, 3 touchdowns. Very high quarterback play. This is one of the few games I think we've seen both sides actually have really good quarterback play. I feel like it's always one side or just both just absolutely suck, like the Browns game. But yeah, I was kind of surprised at the Giants. They can clinch a playoff berth of the win coming up this week. I don't remember who they play, but regardless. Saquon led the game in rushing, 14 carries, 84 yards, 8 catches, 49 yards on 10 targets. I absolutely love his receiving. Love that PPR fantasy points there. Keep throwing in the ball, DJ. I need the points in the championship game. That was a off-season trade I did that I got Saquon in for cheap. I'll just say that.
High low, yep.
I knew. I got him and Jalen Hurts this offseason.
Wow.
2 different owners. And it was
now it'd be an arm and a leg to acquire those 2 guys.
Yeah. I trusted Saquon. I trusted that he said he was healthy, and I felt it, and of course I knew Jalen Hurts was going to be good this year. But the Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson, he led the game in receiving, 12 catches, 133 yards, 1 touchdown, 16 targets. We had 4 guys have double-digit targets in this game, obviously 600 plus passing yards. Also on my fantasy team in the Dynasty League, I'm in the playoffs, and tight end TJ Hawkinson, my starting tight end, absolutely just demolished the Giants. 13 receptions, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns, 16 targets for him. I thought he was going to get a hat trick because Kirk threw him like 1 or 2 other balls in the end zone and they couldn't get it. But 35 points was a nice Christmas present from TJ to myself.
Nice.
And then the other 2 double-digit target guys here, Giants receivers Richie James and Isaiah Hodgins, 8 catches, 90 yards on 12 targets for James. Hodgins getting 8 catches, 89 yards, and a touchdown on 11 targets. Those 2 guys really have come out of nowhere. Hodgins released earlier this year by the Bills. Didn't think he was going to play football again, and then the Giants picked him up, and he's using everything that Stephon Diggs taught him, he said. So, pretty good person to learn from. Anyways. And then the defensive player of the game here, I'm going to go with Vikings linebacker Daniil Hunter, 7 tackles, 5 solos, 2 sacks, 4 QB hits. Giants did cover plus 4.5, over 48.
All right, Rusty, I'm going to head out, but before I go Pack, go. I got to win this weekend, obviously, and then beat the Lions too, but great game in Miami. I wasn't confident in them, but now I am. Their defense looks great.
This guy lone wolfed them. This guy.
I'm glad you had confidence in them, Logan. I did not. I was like, it's over. Especially when they had the opportunity to go up 27-10 Miami, but Jordan Reed with a huge QB strip and recovery.
Yep.
So much needed. So they're looking good. They just got to continue, and I'm glad they're at home the last couple games.
Just win, baby.
And I know that Washington's going to lose game. I just feel that too. So,
all right, Dan. Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year. Take care.
But how about this game? This game was fun to watch. The Bengals 22-18 over the Patriots. Joe Burrow just slicing them up. 40-52, 76.9%, 375 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Those 2 picks allowed the Patriots to get back in, though. It was 22-0. And the Patriots were coming back. Couldn't get it done, though. Mac Jones for New England, 21-33, 63.6%, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I'm hearing people call, Patriots fans, I'm hearing them call for Mac's head now. They want a new quarterback, apparently.
Yeah, he just kind of has kind of what we all thought of kind of in the pre-draft process. He's just kind of average. And honestly, if you kind of play average in the NFL, like, you're just not going to win a lot of games with an average quarterback, unfortunately. Did you see the hit going on Twitter? The dirty play he did on the return interception?
That wasn't even a fumble.
Right.
It's an incomplete pass.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's
he's gonna get fined. They said probably they're looking at it anyways.
Yeah, because it's not the only time that he's done that. But
we got it against Chandler Jones. Maybe they wouldn't have lost that game, but
yeah, I just don't know what the Patriots do, what other kind of options they have.
They have a guy that is number 4. That's his backup.
I mean, at this point in the season, I mean, you could see if he gets a shot. I don't think Bailey Zappi is going to be the answer. I think he's going to be a good career quarterback. I don't know if he can be a starter. Yeah, I don't know. The Patriots are just one of those teams that are in a weird spot. The Bengals, though, it's really interesting. For me, the Bengals are probably the hottest team in football. And I think they're one of three teams that are kind of in an equal share of potentially coming out of the AFC. I think it's Chiefs, Bengals, and Bills as the favorites. And I think any one of those three could come out of it. And I would believe it. They're playing really well right now. Like you said, they almost kind of fumbled it away, but still got the win. They still look pretty sharp overall. So it's going to be really interesting coming down the stretch.
Yeah, they're the other team in that massive week 17 Monday night game against Buffalo. That will determine a lot.
Yep.
Especially depending on what happens with Kansas City's game against the Broncos, which we have to have a conversation about. But Joe Mixon, the Bengals running back, led the game in rushing, 16 carries, 65 yards, 7 receptions, 45 yards, 9 targets. Mixon owners loving the just like I love the Saquon PPR. Mixon owners getting the PPR from him there. Patriots really got shut down running the ball. Ramondre Stevenson, 30 yards. That was their leading rusher. So nice job by Lou Anarumo's defense there for Cincy. 200-yard receivers in this one. Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins, 8 catches, 128 yards, a touchdown, 9 targets. He was just mossing the New England corners all day. It was just jump balls to T. And then how about surprise performance from Patriots wide receiver Kendrick Bourne, 6 catches, 100 yards, even 1 touchdown on 9 targets there. Interesting scenario. The not that it really changed anything. It's still a 2-score game, but the Bowling Green just got a safety, so it is 24-12. We'll see. 7:10 to go in the game. Still a chance for the Falcons.
All left.
Jamar Chase for the Bengals. He had a double-digit target day here. 8 catches, 79 yards, 11 targets, and a fumble. And Bengals wide receiver Trenton Irwin's been really coming on. Just he's kind of been their third guy, really. 3 catches, 45 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 targets. And I feel like he's really just been Joe Burrow's red zone guy, because it seems like he's been scoring like the last 3 weeks. And Patriots corner Marcus Jones is the player of the game. Just continues to have a phenomenal rookie season. 14 tackles, 12 of them solos, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, 69-yard pick 6. I mean,
You can't do much better than that.
I knew he was going to be good. I didn't know he was going to be that good on defense right away.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to be good on special teams, but
And he has been good on special teams, and he's exceeded our expectations on defense. So another one of those kind of mid to late round classic Patriot, developed guys that have been able to really come in this system and pay off. It's really impressive.
yeah, not Cole Strange. But haven't heard much about him this year yet. But the Bengals did cover, though, -3 under 41.5. Ravens staying alive in the AFC North picture, staying 1 game back. They got flexed in to Sunday night this week against the Steelers. Ravens clinched a playoff berth last week, so they are already in. More than likely, it's going to be Tyler Huntley again against the Steelers. Just they keep playing, staying alive in the locker room, because that's what they've been doing the last couple of weeks. Their lone loss in the last couple has been to the Ravens, so need this one. And I think I did say at some point that the Steelers were going to make the playoffs based off their schedule, and that they were going to, at the worst, if they didn't win out, they were going to lose one, and that was going to be to the Ravens, which they already did. And they could have won that game, even with Mitch Trubisky going in after Kenny got hurt. But Kenny Pickett's shown maturity, and I think he's got a good chance at that one. But I'm getting way off track.
You're doing the preview before the
But the Ravens 17-9 over the Falcons. Desmond Ridder, this was probably his best game, I think, out of his what is this, his third start now? Second? I don't remember. I lose track. But 22 of 33, 66.7%, 218 yards. Tyler Huntley he's just not been that great. Not like last year. I was really excited about his free agency status for 2023 because he was going to be a restricted free agent. He was a exclusive rights last year, but he was going to be an RFA this year. And I still am interested to see what tag the Ravens put on him, but 9 of 17, 52.9%, 115 yards, 1 touchdown, 11 carries for 26 yards. The Ravens have scored 20 points combined the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. And I think, not to make too many excuses for Huntley, but to be quite honest, I mean, that wide receiver room for the Ravens is just very bad. They really don't have a lot of weapons in that area, and it's really hurt them this season. Even before Lamar went down, they struggled to move the ball that way, and it's clearly having an effect on kind of the offense. So, I mean, you're talking about the Packers waiving Sammy Watkins, who I mean, even though we've had a lot of guys step up in that room this year, it's been in flux all season.
It's kind of 35-year-old Deshaun Jackson. I mean,
yeah, right, yeah, and Sammy Watkins, they picked him up and started him this week, and I understand that you got some injuries and he knows the offense, yada yada yada, but like, if you're forced to do those kind of things, you have a glaring issue in terms of that area, your personnel. So that's going to be one of their big needs this offseason.
Yeah, which it still doesn't. It still never made sense. The Marquise Brown trade. It never made sense.
Yeah.
Even for a first round pick that they didn't use on a wide receiver. So. But yeah, it's Devin Duvernay went down last week in practice. He's gone for the year. So I don't know. But I'm right now, they're gonna play what I think is gonna be the Jags. So I'm picking the Jags at this point in that matchup in the first round.
Yeah. And I think, honestly, at this point the Jags would be favored in that because of how hot they've been. So yeah.
Gus Edwards led the game in rushing, 11 carries, 99 yards. I was highly disappointed with J.K. Dobbins' performance in this one. It wasn't terrible, but fantasy-wise, he wasn't that great. And the Falcons weren't that good at stopping the run, so kind of surprised that Gus got as many carries as he did for one, but that JK kind of wasn't that great.
Yeah. And I just hope J.K. Dobbins can just get healthy because, I think he can be a special player when he's healthy, but that's a big if.
Rookie wide receiver Drake London led the game in receiving, 7 receptions, 96 yards, 9 targets, but for the second week in a row, he's fumbled, and it's been at a critical juncture in the game. He just needs to hold on to the ball. because it's really been hurting the Falcons the last 2 weeks, especially, like against the Saints last week, where it's just like crushing loss because he fumbled that when they were driving to tie the game. Defensively, there wasn't much, but I'm going to go with Ravens linebacker Patrick Queen, 9 tackles, 1 solo, half a sack, 1 pass deflection, 2 QB hits. Ravens cover -6.5, under 35.5. How about Texans? Lovie Smith getting his second win of the season, 19-14 over the Titans. The Titans are just absolute trash right now. Malik Willis is what we all thought he was, is a project.
Mhm.
I mean, Ryan Tannehill's out for the regular season, possibly for the year if they do make the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you're Mike Vrabel, do you think about Logan Woodside at all?
I mean, I think you have to if you want to keep your playoff hopes alive. Because I mean, Malik just hasn't been getting it done, and it's unfortunate for me to say and I still do really like the skill set that Malik Willis has. Like you said, we all expected him to be a project, and we all hoped he went to a situation where he didn't have to get thrown into the fire right away. Unfortunately, he does, and he's just not quite ready for that. I think if you don't look elsewhere, you're going to have to change the offense up a little bit and utilize his legs more. Read option stuff, RPO, that kind of stuff, even though that doesn't really fit what your personnel is in sort of a power run scheme, you're going to have to, be adaptable. But yeah, it's unfortunate for the Titans, who midway through the season really kind of picked up and we're looking good. And, it's just for what has felt like the third or fourth season in a row now, injuries have just killed this team, man. And it's an unfortunate part of our game, but the Titans have felt it more than anybody.
Yeah. Davis Mills here, pretty solid. 17 of 28, 60.7%, 178 yards, 1 touchdown, a pick. Jeff Driscoll continues to get snaps. It's really a weird, because I really don't watch the Texans games. But it's so weird. This is the third week in a row, I think Jeff Driscoll has thrown a pass, multiple passes, and he went 3 of 4 for 40 yards in this one. I think it's a nice wrinkle. It's sort of like a Taysom Hill kind of thing, because Driscoll is a very athletic running quarterback that had switched to wide receiver at one point in his career and switched back to quarterback. But yeah, Malik Willis, 14 of 23, 60.9%, 99 yards, 2 picks, 7 carries, 43 yards, a touchdown. Derrick Henry for Tennessee led the game in rushing, 23 carries, 126 yards, 1 touchdown. Second week in a row, though, he has fumbled the ball. So Henry has had some ball protection issues. And then 2 catches, 0 yards for King Henry there. Texans wide receiver Philip Dorsett led the game in receiving, 3 catches, 45 yards on 3 targets. I was happy to start Brandon Cooks in my my losers bracket fraternity league. Need a Justin Herbert Christmas miracle tonight to win my game in the losers bracket and not advance to the losers championship game. Because it's the toilet bowl, so losers move on. So yeah, I would like to not have to worry about finishing last next week. So we need 26 points from Herbs tonight. How about Rex Burkhead? No carries in this game, but 2 catches for 7 yards on 2 targets. And he had a 0-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown on a Davis Mills fumble there that popped into the end zone, and Sexy Rexy recovered it there. So nice way to score a touchdown for him. And defensively, couple guys here. Titans defensive end Danico Autry, 7 tackles, 5 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 2 pass deflections, and 2 QB hits. And then Texans linebacker Ogbania Okoronkwo, 5 tackles, all of them solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 2 QB hits. I also want to say, though, Jalen Petrie has been an absolute stud for the Texans all year. Rookie 2nd-round pick. He's been their leading tackler, I think. I don't know the exact stats, but he is tackling machine. And he has a couple picks as well this year.
Yeah. Him and Derek Stingley being foundational pieces in that secondary was a really good draft strategy for the Texans last year.
And the Texans +3, they went outright under 34. The update on the Quick Lane Bowl here, Bowling Green has scored. They are now down 5, 24-19. Looks like the Aggies just got a first down, though, with I think 4.5 to go. So we're getting down to it. It's a close one in Detroit. The Niners crushing the Commanders 37-20, and we have a quarterback controversy once again in DC. Taylor Heineke got pulled, but his stats are still very good. I mean, 13 of 18, 72.2%, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns. The turnovers were bad, 1 pick and a fumble. Carson Wentz did play well, though. I didn't watch the second half of this game because I was on the road watching the Eagles game on my phone. But Carson Wentz, 12 of 16, 75%, 123 yards, a touchdown. And they're on the brink now. They're, they're still a half a game up. They can clinch next week with some help from the Lions, Seahawks, and Packers, all needing to lose in order for them, and they need a win as well to clinch that. But yeah, the Commanders are an interesting bunch.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily, I'm not sure about the QB switch because I think Carson Wentz and Taylor Heineke, in terms of what they can give your football team, are like on the same footing. They're different play styles, different physically, but in terms of the net result of what you're going to see on the field, I think it's the same. So I think if you're Ron Rivera, the only way you make a QB change is if you are looking towards next year and who you want to be on the team next year, whether that's the starter or backup or what have you. At this point in the season, if you have 2 guys who I think can produce at the same level, I think you favor continuity over anything when you're still in the playoff race. So yeah, I don't really get pulling him. Now, I didn't see the game, so I don't know if Heineke was really like 1 interception, 1 fumble. Maybe he was just, being too turnover happy, but we know that Carson Wentz is plenty capable of that as well. So yeah, it's interesting. And they're really kind of fighting for their lives at this point after kind of being one of those hot teams mid-season.
I heard it was them not being able to finish drives, but he did throw 2 touchdowns, so I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. If you're looking at the playoffs, you're gonna have to go to Minnesota right now. Who do I think has the best chance, gives you the best chance on the road in Minnesota is Taylor Heineke. He has playoff experience. Carson Wentz doesn't.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz has never started a playoff game. He was injured the 2 times the Eagles were in the playoffs in his career. So yeah, I mean, Heineke, I think, gives you the best chance in the playoffs. But yeah, you got to make a decision about Wentz next year. He's on the books for a lot of money. And if you're thinking about next year and you're thinking about whether you're going to keep him or take the big cap hit, you gotta play him.
And I think the big thing is that to create a quarterback controversy at this stage in the game, when you're trying to get into the playoffs, you need to be sure that you're going to get a bump and that the other guy gives you a better chance at winning. And I just don't see how you can be so sure of that by making that decision, but we'll see.
The Purdy parade for the Niners, though, keeps on rolling. 15 of 22 for Brock, 68.2%, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick. Brian Robinson Jr. actually led the game in rushing, 22 carries, 58 yards. CMC struggled, but it's the Commanders' defensive line, very solid. Chase Young's first game of the season, so he helped that run defense also. Niners tight end George Kittle continues to just absolutely dominate. 2 weeks in a row, he's been on my bench, and I feel like I have to leave him there, though. Just because I know I'm going to put him in the championship game and he's going to lay an egg. Even though Debo's not there, Purdy has been throwing it to him all the time. I don't know. That's a decision I'll talk about probably on Friday or on Thursday, because that's on our show. But yeah, Kittle, 6 receptions, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 targets there. And Ray McLeod also, he was the actual leader in rushing in this game. He had 1 target on offense, receiving wise, and then he had a 71-yard end around rushing touchdown, which was pretty electric there. Defensively, it's always Nick Bosa with Niners games. 7 tackles, 5 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 4 QB hits. Niners -6 easily, over 37. Got 37 by themselves, but yeah. Cowboys beating the Eagles 40-34. I lone wolfed my birds because I thought they could get it done, and they really could have. Gardner Minshew was fantastic. You just can't have 4 turnovers and think you're going to win. So that was the biggest issue. That's why the Cowboys scored half of their points off of those 4 turnovers, 20 points off 4 there. But other than that, I mean, I think that Gardner Minshew proved that the Eagles can win with him at quarterback. If they don't have those turnovers, I mean, I think the Eagles win this easily by maybe like 10.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that the biggest thing for the Eagles moving forward is just making sure that Jalen Hurts doesn't have any nagging, lingering injuries going into the playoffs. And I think you mentioning how well Minshew plays into that, because let's say if it's still kind of bothering him going into this week, I think you still play Minshew and just make sure 100% that Hurts is healthy, because like you said, you can win with them. This is a 1-score game. Where either team could have won with your backup quarterback. So I think you just focus on getting Jalen Hurts healthy. Yeah,
and despite the 4 turnovers, they still had a chance at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of crazy though, and annoying at the same time. But the Cowboys had their best pass rush of the day on the last offensive play of the Eagles game, incompletion to AJ Brown, which I thought was also weird, because I thought AJ was tracking it because he was looking over his right shoulder, and I thought he had his eyes on the ball, and then he just looks straight, and the ball lands like 1.5 or 2 feet in front of him, and I'm like, I thought you had it, you were looking at it, but it's all right. I think the Eagles can get it done this week against the Saints. Clinch that number 1 seed. Jalen is pushing to play though this week, so I do agree with you. But I think a cool scenario would be to have Jalen active, have him be the backup to Minshew. If Minshew's struggling or the Eagles are losing, say like at halftime, you can put Hurts in, know that you're going to get him, for a whole half there, and trust that he can win you the ball game. So I don't know. That's just an outside the box solution in my mind. But anyways, Minshew though, 24 of 40, 60%, 355 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 1 rushing touchdown, and a fumble. That fumble is not on him. I think that they credited that fumble to him on the Boston Scott exchange, but it's not on him. Dak Prescott, 27 of 35, 77.1%, 347 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 6 carries, 41 yards. Miles Sanders was pretty decent. Neither team could effectively run the ball. 21 carries, 65 yards, a fumble, 1 reception for 6 yards. Zeke has scored in 8 straight now. Really a boost to my fantasy team. Him scoring touchdowns every week. That's the only reason I'm starting him. But biggest issue with the Eagles defense, they couldn't cover 88. Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb was uncoverable for most of the game. Second half, they really did shut him down because I think he had 8 catches in the first half for 100 yards. But 10 catches, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns on 11 targets. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown continued to eat. Smith with 8 catches, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns, 12 targets. Brown, 6 catches, 103 yards on 8 targets there. Another thing in this game was Darius Slay, you cannot allow T.Y. Hilton to catch a ball on 3rd and 30. Don't understand how that happened. Don't understand how I don't remember who the safety was that was coming across, whether Marcus Epps or Avonte Maddox, but that you can't. I don't understand how that happens. But regardless, defensively, I'm gonna go with my boy Eagles defensive end Josh Sweat. 3 tackles, 1 solo, 1.5 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, 2 QB hits, 42-yard pick 6. That was really amazing to watch. Update on the Quick Lane Bowl. Your New Mexico State Aggies are your 2022 Quick Lane Bowl champions. 24-19 your final. Jerry Kill, New Mexico State head coach. His first career bowl win was 0-5 previously. While I don't know if he had any other bowl. I don't know if he was a head coach anywhere else other than Minnesota. But yeah, good to see Jerry Kill get his first one. Diego Pavia, the Aggies quarterback, your player of the game as well. Finish up this one. Cowboys cover -4 over 48. We won it for Franco. Steelers 13-10 over the Raiders in the Immaculate Reception game. Franco Harris's jersey retirement ceremony at halftime was really great to watch. His wife and son made the trip to Pittsburgh to be there for it. And it was I really almost shed some tears there when Mr. Rooney said, you know, the big man was supposed to be here with us to do this. But yeah, that was pretty moving there. And the Steelers, you had to win it for Franco. There were 32s all over the stadium. The players came into the stadium with his jerseys on. Kenny Pickett really showed some guts in this one. 26 of 39, 66.7%, 244 yards, 1 touchdown, a pick. Derek Carr struggled, 16 of 30, 53.3%, 174 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, 3 carries for 14 yards. And the Steelers defense looked like the Steelers defense in this one. So that's encouraging, and 2 wins, and Tomlin doesn't have to worry about anything else anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool moment winning that for Franco Harris. You know, I couldn't believe it, you know, hearing the news, because I mean, literally, like they were hyping up the anniversary for weeks now. It's just one of those crazy kind of coincidences. But yeah, great win for Pittsburgh. Like you said, great defensive effort. The Raiders, I don't know what to say about this team. This is one of those games I had kind of around in the background of one of our family gatherings, I think. So I was watching it in spurts. But it seemed like every time I looked up, it was like a Derek Carr overthrow of Devontae Adams. It's just, and that's just kind of how it's been this year for the Raiders. They just haven't been able to. They can almost beat anyone on any given Sunday, but they just haven't been able to do anything consistently. And there are games where they look like this, where it's just, I mean, they looked like the worst team out of all the games on Sunday. Just weren't able to do much. And I don't know where they go from here, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough scene for Las Vegas. But good on
They're
Coach
not
Tomlin.
they're not technically eliminated yet, the Raiders. I
Yeah.
don't know what I don't know what their scenario is, but
Yeah, it's not over quite yet, but it's just not looking good.
the leading ball carrier in this one, Najee Harris. Of course, it was a Harris that led the game in rushing, right? 16 carries, 53 yards, 6 receptions, 42 yards on 9 targets. He was close with Franco, just like James Conner was. Cardinals like talk about. Steelers tight end Pat Freiermuth, the leading receiver in this one, 7 catches, 66 yards on 8 targets. Him and Pickett really have a great connection, just like him and Pickens, just like Pickett and Pickens there. And speaking of George Pickens, 5 catches, 57 yards, the game-winning touchdown on 5 targets. Came on strong in the second half, made some great catches there. Defensively, I go with Steelers defensive tackle Cameron Hayward, 7 tackles, 4 solos, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 1 pass deflection, 2 QB hits. He was also close with Franco, and a very, very big fan of Franco's as well. So good to see Cam get it done for him. Steelers did cover -2.5 by the hook, under 38 easily. Here you go. Packers 26-20 on Christmas Day. Yesterday, Tua Tagovailoa 16-25, 64%, 310 yards, 1 touchdown, but 3 picks. Crushed the Dolphins most of the day there. Rodgers, pretty good, 24-38, 63.2%, 238 yards, 1 touchdown, a pick, 7 carries, 18 yards. A lot of the first half was very questionable. LaFleur missed a fake punt at his own, what was that, 20, 25? I was like, bro, what are you doing?
A 4th and 2 dive. So, I mean, that's like 4th and forever there. And if you're going to run a dive and you're starting however many yards in your backfield, yeah, questionable call. That first half was rough. And I mean, honestly, if it isn't for a Tua meltdown, we probably lose this game. Just kind of plain and simple. Tua did kind of throw the game away. That's the reality of it. Because all 3 of those interceptions, they kind of happened like sequentially.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all just really bad throws. It wasn't like a freak bobble kind of thing. Just he wasn't seeing the field very well. So yeah, I mean, for the Packers, just win, baby. I mean, just survive in advance, get into the dance, and see what you can do. Like we've said, I mean, apart from like the Niners and the Eagles, that NFC, and I mean, I guess the Vikings. I mean, they are the Viking. We've had some conversations about the Vikings. They are a good team. I think their record is perhaps overrated because of how lucky they've been in those 1-score games, but they're still a good team. But other than that, I mean, the NFC is wide open. And I think, you get hot at the right time. Packers have won 3 straight now. You know, anything can happen.
Yeah. And, 2 division games to finish it off. They can help themselves out week 18 by beating Detroit. So yeah. The leading rusher in this one, Raheem Mostert for Miami, 8 carries, 45 yards, a fumble, 2 catches for 4 yards. I was kind of shocked that the Packers weren't able to run the ball against the Dolphins defense that has given up some rushing yards the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. And that it was another kind of a questionable decision. I don't know if he was banged up or anything, but your best offensive playmakers is Aaron Jones. And he really was not a factor in this game. He didn't see the field quite often. I remember one play they ran kind of a halfback toss to Dylan. And it went for good yardage, but with the blocking scheme, Jones could have ripped that for much more. Just science, AJ Dillon's 50 pounds heavier than Aaron Jones is. But you don't know what's going behind the scenes there. Could be banged up, could be something. But I mean, I think going forward, you got to make sure that Aaron Jones is much more utilized.
Yeah, Aaron Jones was another one I was happy that really did not do great in fantasy this week playing against them there. But Waddle and Hill got theirs once again, despite the loss for Miami. 5 catches, 143 yards, a touchdown on 6 targets for Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill's 4 catches, 103 yards on 6 targets. And that first touchdown to Waddle was just crazy because Tyreek was running right beside him the whole time. It was just speed for days.
Bills, man. And that's why I think, the Dolphins have hit kind of a rough patch here lately. But I think as long as they get into the playoffs, I don't think anybody's going to want to face them just because they have 2 legitimate game breakers who can just change the game in seconds. I mean, when Waddle tore off that, it was like, what, a 70-yard touchdown?
70.
I mean, it felt backbreaking because it was just, they immediately answered.
And defense. Alan Lazard, double-digit targets here, 5 catches, 61 yards on 11 targets. And defensively, I'm gonna go with Packers defensive tackle Jaron Reed. I think that's who Danny was talking about when he said Jordan Reed. But 6 tackles, 4 solos, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 2 QB hits for the big man. Packers plus 3.5. They win outright because Rusty picked them by himself. The Packers fan didn't even pick him. But I got him. I got Aaron's back.
I didn't want to jinx him.
Under 49.5. God, this game was so bad. I didn't even watch most. I had it on my phone while I was at our family gathering there. I didn't even really pay attention though, because it was just terrible. Yeah. Rams 51-14 over the Broncos. Baker Mayfield. I didn't check. I saw they were talking about this during the game, though. I didn't check to see if he did get the record. Because they were talking about possibly Baker setting the Rams completion percentage record for a game, which he would have passed Kurt Warner. And I think he did get it. 24 of 28 for Bake, 85.7%, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, in 3 games in LA, right? 2 starts. Baker Mayfield has become a Rams legend already.
Yeah.
We're just gonna kick Matthew Stafford to the curb next year. Go ahead with Baker Mayfield. Why not? He's cheaper too.
Bold. That's some bold words right there.
But Russell Wilson just is, oh my God, it's so bad. 15 of 27, 55.6%, 214 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, 2 carries, 17 yards. Brett Rippon came in late in the game, 4 of 8, 50%, 45 yards, and a pick. That was a pick 6 from Rippon. And we'll talk about what the aftermath of this game was in the news segment. But apparently Dalton Reisner and Randy Gregory, I think it was.
Is Rippon.
Rippon. Yeah, that's right. We're getting into a art shouting match, and Reisner shoved Rippon, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Well, the rumor was that Rippon was, kind of going to bat for Russ and telling the O-line to, pick him up when he gets sacked and that. And Reisner was not having it. I've seen both sides of that. A lot of fans are saying that Reisner has not had that great of a season. The whole O-line has been kind of suspect. At the same time, I mean, Russ has, he just has been, just objectively bottom 5 quarterback in the league. Statistically, just in terms of the eye test. And to see stuff like that and just clear signs of just being fed up. I mean, you see his receivers openly complaining on the field. It happened again. He missed a read to a wide open Cortland Sutton on the perimeter. And he chose a deep shot instead. And you see it's an incredible shot. If you haven't seen it on Twitter yet, it's that the broadcast was able to catch Russ rolling to the right. You see the check down, but it's still about 10 yards where Sutton is wide open on the perimeter. He has at least 3 yards of separation on his guy. And Russ throws a hero ball down the field, and you just see Sutton just incredibly upset. And to me, that kind of resentment just doesn't come up, even if it's just the on-field play. I think there has to be some kind of locker room thing going on. Russ is kind of an interesting personality in the league. I think sometimes his personality doesn't resonate well with some of the players, especially when you have the added pressure of just having this much of a disappointing season. But I mean, it's just, they're another team where I don't know where you go from here.
And it's a miracle that they even have 4 wins. Could you imagine if they didn't have a top 5 defense?
Yeah.
I mean, they might be winless at this point because
Well, and that's why I felt bad about this drubbing, because I don't think it's very reflective of how well the defense has played this year.
No. Yeah, well, the offense set the Rams up with the 4 interceptions by the 2 quarterbacks. And also with Denver, I lost my train of thought, really, but
you're speechless. Like it's
it's so bad. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they're scoring 15.5 points per game this year. That is the worst Denver Broncos offense. I think, I don't remember the exact year, but I believe it's somewhere around 78. This offense is that bad.
Brock Osweiler,
the very bad Broncos days in the 70s.
Brock Osweiler was running a better offense than what is happening right now with Russell Wilson. It's just, I don't think I've ever seen a player fall off like this.
And they've also set a record for the longest playoff drought from a Super Bowl winning team. They have now missed the playoffs 7 straight years after they won Super Bowl 50. So, yeah, it's not great. And the new ownership group is changing stuff and will continue to change things. But how about the resurgent efforts by Rams running back Cam Akers? 23 carries, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 catches for 29 yards. Very great game for him. Happy to see Akers doing well again. The Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy had a great game, regardless of the loss. 6 catches, 117 yards, 10 targets. Rams tight end Tyler Higbee also double-digit targets here. 9 catches, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11 targets. He's another guy that I've just been benching, like Kittle, but he's been just going off the last couple weeks. And defensively, there was a lot of great performances, mostly on the Rams side there. But I want to mention my boy Alex Singleton, linebacker for the Broncos, 20 tackles in this game, 13 of them solo. Great game for him. And then I don't even know like who to talk about because the Rams just had a million different people. I mean, Bobby Wagner had a game, Laryl Murchison. He had Leonard Floyd. And then Jacoby Durant there, the corner, I believe he's in his rookie year, South Carolina State.
Yeah.
Corner there. 1 tackle, it was a solo, 2 pass deflections, 2 picks. One of them was an 85-yard pick 6 off of Brett Rippon. Rams +3, they win outright. Mark lone wolf them. His Rams there, over 36 Rams by themselves. And finally, Sunday Night Football, Bucks keeping their 1-game lead in the NFC South, 19-16 over the Cardinals in overtime. I was so disappointed for my boy Trace McSorley, Penn State guy. I met him once at the Senior Bowl when he was there. But Tom Brady, the GOAT, does it again. 32 of 48, 66.7%, 281 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Trace, 24 of 45, 53.3%, 217 yards, 1 pick, 7 carries, 14 yards, 2 fumbles. The turnovers really hurt him. James Conner here for the Cardinals, 15 carries, 79 yards, a touchdown, 7 receptions, 41 yards on 8 targets there. Leonard Floyd for the Bucks. This might have been his best game in like a month. 20 carries, 72 yards, 9 receptions, 90 yards on 10 targets. And that is where you start to get playoff Lenny coming back, because that is what he did the last 2 postseasons, is just catch the ball out of the backfield and just crush teams because they couldn't cover him out of the backfield.
Yeah. And they have the added threat of also Rashad White, who's got some fresh legs in the backfield. And the Buccaneers, I mean, 3-point win against a Kyler Murray-less Cardinals is
Third string quarterback.
Yeah. And they just have been really bad this year. At the same time, is Tom Brady. I'm never going to bet against Tom Brady. They get into the playoffs. Like I said, anything can happen in the playoffs. Like, the guy has just been golden his entire career. And even as bad as the Buccaneers have played this year, they get in the playoffs. I wouldn't want to face them just because of the Tom Brady factor. So, we'll see.
If they win the South, they're going to face Dallas, which I think they have a decent shot at, actually. But, yeah, if they make the playoffs by some miracle as a 7, have to go to Minnesota, I don't think they're going to win that one. Greg Dortch came out of nowhere to lead the game in receiving, 10 catches, 98 yards on 11 targets. 2 other guys having double-digit targets in this one. Bucks wide receiver Chris Godwin, 8 catches, 63 yards, and 10 targets. And how about the absolutely atrocious 10% catch rate for DeAndre Hopkins in this game. 1 catch for 4 yards on 10 targets. That's I don't think I've ever seen that bad of a catch rate for a double-digit target person.
I saw the screen like shots like of people who like needed like 3 points or something from Hopkins. It's brutal, man. Fantasy football can be a killer.
And defensively, I gotta go with Cardinals corner Marco Wilson. Unfortunately, he got injured in this game, but 4 tackles, 3 solos, 2 pass deflections, and both of the picks off of Tom Brady there. Cardinals covered plus 7.5, under 41.5. NCAA news, pretty short here. Transfer portal. Got 3 guys here that have committed. Pitt quarterback Keaton Slovis, massive get for Kalani Sitake at BYU, replacing Jaron Hall. You'd have to think that means Jaron Hall is declaring. I haven't heard anything official yet, but he didn't play in the bowl game, so yeah, pretty set in stone that he's gonna declare. But yes, Slovis, pretty decent season at Pitt this year. So I'm interested to see what he does with BYU in the Big 12 next year.
Yeah. It's an interesting kind of swap. Because Pitt picks up Djokovic and then Slovis transfers to BYU. Interesting storyline. Good get in the portal for them. We'll see what he can do.
Yeah, and then Coach Prime just keeps raking. USF wide receiver Jimmy Horn Jr., he has committed to Colorado. I mean, that's just another guy. I mean, now it's going to be, I don't know how much Travis Hunter's playing offense, defense, but he's going to have Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn Jr. now at the very least on the outside for Shedeur Sanders. So
I think they've gotten a couple other wide receiver commits. Look, say what you will about, I know that there's some out there who don't think that maybe he can do it and it's kind of all hyped, but I think in this era of college football, the number one thing is recruiting and talent acquisition. And he's probably the best at it. Maybe not the best, but he's definitely up there. And it's not a hard sell if you're him. I think he came out with the quote. He's like, look, I'm not really selling it. I'm just, if you are a 5-star cornerback and you want to learn from literally one of the best cornerbacks to ever do it, why not? So I definitely think that he's going to be able to build something at Colorado, and he's at least going to put out a competitive team.
Yeah, and he is so interesting because for his age, I believe he's in his 50s, right? Late 40s at the very worst, or the very, very youngest. But at his age, not being a young coach in their 30s, but he is doing everything right in this era, like you said, with NIL, social media. He said at Jackson State, we didn't even have the resources, and we still had the social media campaigns to get all these guys. And now they have all the money in the world at Colorado, he said. And they're going to get all the guys now.
Yeah. And the thing is that you're seeing just like 3 weeks of this where he's already had such an injection of talent into that roster. Just imagine what he does over the next couple of years, being able to establish his own recruiting cycle.
Full recruiting class in 2024. Yeah. That's going to be ridiculous. And then one last transfer portal note here. Texas quarterback Hudson Card has found a new home. He is headed to Purdue. He is headed to Purdue to replace Aiden O'Connell, who is leaving to the draft because he has no eligibility left. But
Yeah.
Why am I blanking on who the Purdue head coach is now?
I don't know because Braum left for Louisville, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know.
But Brian Walters, right? Illinois defensive coordinator.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, Brian Walters. That's right.
Yeah. What again? I'm a big card guy. So as a Badger fan, that kind of scares me.
And then one draft declaration that I didn't get an update about it, but I saw it on ESPN during the halftime of the Hawaii Bowl. Illinois running back Chase Brown has declared for the NFL draft. So very solid. I think he's going to need a good pre-draft prep to push into day 2, because I think he's kind of teetering on day 2, day 3. But yeah, if he runs well, I think he could push to day 2 possibly. NFL news. There's really not much either in this one. General tight end Rob Gronkowski. Talked about this on Saturday, but possibly open to returning in 2023. That banks on what Tom Brady's going to do, because no one knows yet. Free agent this offseason. I mean, I don't think there's any way Tom leaves, but if he doesn't retire, but who knows?
I think he's gone.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gronk, I mean, would he come back without Brady? I don't think so. But
yeah. It is. I did see that tweet where he kind of broke Twitter when he just tweeted like I'm bored, right? Or something, with like the eyeball emojis or whatever. Yeah. I mean, look, man, you don't know what he can do. At this point in his career, having been in and out of football, but the game's better with Gronk, man. It just is. He's just such a great personality. So I'd love to see him back in the pads.
Maybe he should go to Denver and help Russ out there. And I already said this, but the Steelers at the Ravens this coming weekend, flex to Sunday Night Football. Steelers trying to stay alive. Ravens really don't have anything to play for except the AFC North, which they're still a game back. And if the Bengals win their game, they clinch the AFC North, I believe, is that scenario. So, I don't know. And then the Rams at the Chargers game, that has been moved to 425. Injuries, a bunch of guys done for the year. It's that time of season where, you get a couple week injury and you're done because there's only a couple weeks left. But the Panthers have lost corner J.C. Horn for the year, broken wrist. So great season for him this year, but not going to be able to see the Panthers into the playoffs if they can get there. I mentioned this, but Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts is pushing to play this week. Sternoclavicular joint sprain in his right shoulder, which I had to look up because I wasn't sure what the difference was between AC and SC. So SC inside here, attaching to your sternum, which is the sterno part. Yeah. And then I did like a throwing motion on Christmas when I was talking to someone about it. And I was like, yeah, this one would probably be more painful than the AC out here. So yeah, I can see why it would hurt, but Jalen's a beast, and we'll see if he plays or not. Bengals right tackle Lyle Collins, he's done for the year, ACL and MCL tears. So I saw Peter Schrager put out a tweet today. I don't know, I guess he said it on GMFB today to like Andrew Whitworth. He said, finish your prime show on Thursday night there for the Thursday night game, and then sign with the Bengals. The Bengals need you. come back to Cincinnati.
Dude, that would be outstanding. Just go get a nice little bag, nice little bonus money, some thrown around money, and try to push for another Super Bowl.
I mean, for one, he's never played right tackle in his career. And for two, he was really dragging in the Super Bowl year with LA. And I just can't see him being effective, even if he would come back. I don't think he's in shape either. He seems to be having a good time on Thursday nights there. The Bucks have lost another offensive lineman. What's new with Tampa Bay? Maybe he should go play for the freaking Bucks. But offensive tackle Josh Wells done for the year, torn patellar tendon for Josh Wells. So Donovan Smith was already out, and now Wells goes out at left tackle. I no clue who they're going to play there next, but maybe Gronk will come back, play left tackle. And then the Eagles, they have lost right tackle Lane Johnson for the regular season. There is hope that he can come back for the playoffs, but he has an abdominal tendon tear. Probably going to need surgery in the offseason, but I'm happy it's not anything serious. And Jack Driscoll, I think, has done a great job as our swing tackle this year. So I think the Eagles will be okay with Jack Driscoll going along at right tackle the last 2 games of the season here. And then finally, a development today, just like 5 minutes into the show, Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa in concussion protocol once again. It was kind of weird because he played the whole game yesterday. But yeah, he is in the concussion protocol once again. So that means I would have to think that maybe Skylar Thompson starts this week. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be able to get clear in 4 days.
Yeah. I mean, the league's got to review their concussion protocol and the steps associated with that. I think that's pretty clear at this point, or maybe just how Miami does their concussion protocol. But yeah, interesting development.
And then before we go to pick standings here, the college football games we got going on in between shows. Like I said, I'm gonna have a show on Thursday probably, because I'm driving on Friday. But tomorrow we have a quadruple header on ESPN. Camellia Bowl. That's at the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. No teams have any residency at the Crampton Bowl. But Georgia Southern 6-6. Eagles, they're 4.5-point favorites against the Buffalo Bulls, who are also 6-6. Total is 67. So I'm probably going to go with the over. Georgia Southern games have been pretty high scoring this year, and I'm rolling with the Eagles, who I was very happy that they got into a bowl because I was rooting for them late in the season. That one's at 12 o'clock on ESPN. The Serve Pro First Responder Bowl, that's at Gerald J. Ford Stadium. That is where SMU plays in Dallas, Texas. The Memphis Tigers, 6-6. They are 7.5-point favorites against the Utah State Aggies, also 6-6. Total is 60.5 there, 3:15 p.m. on ESPN. Probably going to roll with Memphis again, the favorite in that game, just because Seth Hennigan and that Tigers offense, Utah State, I don't think has been that great this year. So the Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl, Protective Stadium, where UAB plays in Birmingham, Alabama. Coastal Carolina, 9-3, Chanticleers. Against the 7-5 East Carolina Pirates there. Pirates getting 7 points. Total is 65. I'm rolling with the under. Holton Ayler's last game, I believe he is a senior. So he is done after this one. And that's 6:45 on ESPN. I'm rolling with the Pirates again. The favored team. No Grayson McCall. I just can't trust that Chanticleer's offense without him. And Jamie Chadwell got hired somewhere else too, right?
Yeah, he left for Liberty, I think.
That's right. Yeah. So ECU, go Pirates. And then finally tomorrow, guaranteed rate bowl that is at Chase Field, where the Arizona Diamondbacks play, in Phoenix, Arizona. Your Badgers, Wisconsin, 6-6, 3.5-point favorites, against Mike Gundy's Oklahoma State Cowboys, 7-5. Cowboys there. The total is pretty low, 44.5. I am probably going to go with the under though in that one. It's a late one, 10:15 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
Yep.
I'm rolling with Wisconsin, I guess, because they have less transfers than Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's been decimated by the portal.
Yeah, it's interesting because we were able to stop kind of the bleeding of the transfers. We didn't have as much transfer movement, like you just said, as Oklahoma State. At the same time, our coaching staff is kind of in flux, whereas OSU has Gundy still and that continuity. So it'll be an interesting game. I think it'll be a close game, but yeah, I hope we pull it out.
Is Jim Leonard is still coaching?
Yeah, I believe Leonard is going to be head coaching this game in his final with us. But I think Fickle said that he's going to also be coaching in some capacity, like as a position group. So they'll both be on the sidelines tomorrow night.
And then Wednesday, we have the Military Bowl presented by Peraton. I guess that's how you say that. I've never heard of that company. But this is at the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, which is where Navy plays in Annapolis, Maryland. UCF, the Knights, 9-4 against the Duke Blue Devils, who are 8-4. Blue Devils, 3.5-point favorites. Total is 62.5. I'm rolling with the over in that one. 2 p.m. on ESPN Wednesday. I'm rolling with the Blue Devils. The no Mikey Keene at quarterback for UCF. No Ryan O'Keefe at wide receiver as well. Both in the transfer portal. So, yeah, I'm rolling with Duke. I don't know. I'm just rolling with all the favorites probably because most of the favorites are teams that haven't been hit by the portal, and the underdogs are the people that have been hit by the portal. AutoZone Liberty Bowl. That's at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium in Memphis, Tennessee. That's where Memphis plays. The Kansas Jayhawks, 6-6. They are against the Arkansas Razorbacks, also 6-6. Sam Pittman's crew coming in to play Lance Leopold. Arkansas getting 3 points here. This one should actually be close. I don't think either of these teams have really been hit by the portal at all, besides Malik Hornsby, but I would have to think KJ Jefferson's going to play in this game. For Arkansas. That's why they're still favored. So it should be KJ Jefferson versus Jalen Daniels, which should provide a pretty good matchup of 6-6 teams. Total is 69. I'm rolling with the under though. I don't care if those quarterbacks are playing. I'm still picking the under 69.
That's obscene.
Yeah. And this one's at 5:30 on ESPN. This one I'm really excited about. San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl, Petco Park, where the Padres play, in San Diego, California. So it should be nice weather even at night. Number 15 Oregon, 9-3 Ducks. They are 14.5-point favorites against North Carolina Tar Heels, 9-4, ACC runners up. The total is 74.5. And this one I am rolling with the over, though.
Really?
The North Carolina's defense has nothing. Tony Grimes has gone in the portal as well for North Carolina's defense. Both quarterbacks going to be in this one. Bo Nix announced he's returning to Oregon, so he will be in this one, as will Drake May for UNC. I'm interested, though, to see if Josh Downs plays for UNC, declared for the draft. So not sure if he's going to play or not. I would hope so it's a better game. But if not, I would probably lean the favorite in Oregon because I don't really know any other receivers that May would have.
Yeah. Yep. I'm excited to see that QB battle. And I think both those teams are going to be major players next year in the college football landscape.
This one's at 8 p.m. on Fox. And then finally on Wednesday, TaxAct Texas Bowl, NRG Stadium, where the Texans play in Houston, Texas. Texas Tech, I just said Texas like 5 times in like 30 seconds. Texas Tech, though, there's another one. 7-5 Red Raiders. They are against the 8-4 Ole Miss Rebels, who are 4-point favorites. Lane Kiffin's crew coming in. Total is 71, and that one's a close one. I'm going to go with the under because of the Ole Miss defense, I think. And I'm picking Ole Miss as well. Not sure who the quarterback's going to be for Texas Tech. I know Donovan Smith transferred to Houston. They have another guy, but I don't remember what his name is. I'm more familiar with Donovan Smith there, but so yeah, I'm rolling with Ole Miss, and I don't even remember who their quarterback is. I don't know why. That's right, Jackson Dart, the old Dart. This one's 9 p.m. on ESPN on Wednesday, and then just one on Thursday because it's going to be before the show. The Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. I like that sponsor.
Outstanding.
This one's played at Yankee Stadium, of course, where the New York Yankees play in the Bronx, New York. I just added the in front of the Bronx. I don't know if people from New York say that, but it's just Bronx on the map. But Syracuse, kind of like Texas Tech, and their game is going to be a home game for them. Syracuse is going to be the home favorite there. 7-5 Orange, facing the Minnesota Golden Gophers, who are coming in at 8-4. PJ Flex team, 10-point favorites. Total is 42. I'm rolling with the under. 2 p.m. on ESPN Thursday, and I'm rolling with the Golden Gophers. Syracuse, I believe Sean Tucker will not play in that game. And I think Minnesota is going to have everyone. So, yeah. Pick standings. 2-0 last week. Everyone got it done. We got the Jags on Thursday. We got the Packers on Monday last week. Everyone was on the same page. So yeah, it's close. It's really close, coming down to the wire. We got a couple weeks left this week and next week. And because there's no Thursday or Monday games in week 18. So yeah, then we'll have one more. We'll have a playoff game to pick and the wild card weekend and that'll be our last Monday pick. So, but yeah, I am still leading Mark by 1. You are 4 back and Peter is 5 back. So you and Peter might have to think about, going against Mark and I just so you can try to make it up.
Yeah. I just don't want to be last though,
Right. Yeah. Well, I think both of y'all are pretty safe from having winning records. So I think both of y'all are gonna secure winning records at least. But tonight, in a little bit, about an hour and a half. Chargers at the Colts. We're all got the lightning bolts up there. Again, I just need don't run the ball with Austin Eckler. That's my hope. Actually, no, I do need Austin Eckler though in I have a FanDuel lineup. Because they gave us free money this weekend on FanDuel Fantasy. So I made some lineups, made some money on the Eagles game pretty much. Because I started a lot of Eagles in that 4:00 window. But yeah, I need Justin Herbert 26 plus fantasy points tonight to win my losers bracket game in my fraternity league. And yeah, I mean, Nick Foles is starting, so who the hell knows how that's going to go. But LA, they clinch a playoff spot with a win. So they have everything to play for.
Yeah. I'd love to see a statement game here for the Chargers, who have kind of been hot and cold, but have been pretty decent as of late. I'd like to see a statement win from them going into the playoffs to really feel good about where they sit in the AFC.
I feel like the Chargers, though, are the one team in the AFC wild card race that has been like just putting along right at the like average line. They haven't gone really far down. They haven't gone really far up.
Yep.
It's been pretty consistent. And, even the Ravens are above them by a game and a half right now. But we already talked about how bad their offense has been with Tyler Huntley the last 3 games. So, yeah, Chargers, we are all on that. Total is 44.5. And if you want to make a statement, why not go for it by themselves, right? And this one's 8:15 on ESPN. Thursday night game. This is the final Thursday night game of the season. Cowboys at the Titans, and this is just a terrible way to end the Thursday night season. The Cowboys should absolutely demolish the Titans. As much as I hate to say that, it's probably going to happen because the Titans are so bad right now.
Yeah. We've already talked about how the Titans are just in a bad spot injury-wise. And
it's a short week now.
yeah.
Yeah. But why not? Vrabel, let's put Mr. Woodside in there. See what he's got. Nothing to lose, because that's one thing that the Titans do have. And I think that Vrabel should use that this week in their prep, in their couple days of prep that they have. We have there's nothing to play for in this game, guys. We can play loose. This game has no effect on our playoff status.
Yeah.
The only thing it does is it would help them in case they do lose to the Jaguars. It would help them possibly stay in the 7 seed race.
Mm-hmm.
Were the Dolphins to lose next week or this week,
yeah,
they would both be 8-8, and I don't know who wins the tiebreaker at that point, but so that would help them in that regard anyways. But again, I would say, we have nothing to play for division wise. It's all about the week 18 game with the Jags. So, go play loose, have fun,
reach into the bag of tricks. Dust out the trick playbook.
Yeah, why not? I mean, the Cowboys really don't have much to play for either. They're already in the playoffs. They have a slim chance at the NFC East. They need to win out. Eagles need to lose out, but that's a statistical improbability. So yeah, I kind of wish this game was on Sunday though, and the Eagles were playing Thursday. Granted, that would mean Jalen Hurts wouldn't play, but it would be interesting to see if that would happen. The Eagles would win if the Cowboys would just rest everyone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they can't go lower than the 5 right now. So yeah, but alas, we have this on Thursday. Total is 42. I'm going over because, again, I think the Cowboys just demolished the Titans. 36-10. That's the final right there.
Book it.
8:15 p.m. on Thursday, Prime Video. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna watch that because I'm not in Milwaukee and my roommate's the only one with Prime. So, Prime Video. Actually, I think my parents have Prime. Well, I might be able to get that working. But yeah, next Monday, NFL Week 18, we will be on here for. We'll provide you with college football game recaps. And next Monday, we will be in 2023, sir.
Yes, sir.
It will be January 2nd. We will be hungover from New Year's, maybe. I don't know. Probably not, I guess, the 2nd, but we'll see. We'll talk about the college football games, the semifinal games on New Year's Eve, and great NFL action on New Year's Day. And then we'll talk about this. And I've been saying it all show, just monster matchup on Monday Night Football to close the Monday night schedule, regular season schedule. Anyways, obviously we have Super Wild Card weekend with the Monday night game, but yeah, Bills at the Bengals should be in for a very good showing on Monday night. As always, don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, at FAA_bets as well on Twitter. FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Great. Perfect. 2 hours. And thank you, Logan. Merry Christmas once again. Happy New Year. And we will see you back in 2023, unless you're coming on Thursday. But
yeah, I don't know what the schedule's like yet for that, but we'll see. Yeah, I might see it Thursday before then. And if not, happy